Walk into any drugstore in America right now, and most of what's sitting on that anti-aging shelf is selling you a feeling, not a result. A pretty jar, a serif font, a word like radiance that means absolutely nothing. And the older you get, the harder they push, because somewhere after 50, the industry is betting you got tired enough, or worried enough, to stop reading the label and start trusting the promise. So here's the thing. Nobody in that aisle wants to say out loud. Most of those promises aren't regulated, aren't proven, and aren't worth a fraction of what you paid for them. But a handful of brands actually earned the trust. 8 of them. And by the end of this, you'll know exactly which bottle is worth keeping for the rest of your life. Because here's what's really happening to your skin after 50. And it is not in your head. You're producing less collagen and less elastin. Cell turnover slows down, so dead skin lingers on the surface and makes everything look dull and rough. Your barrier, the part of your skin that holds moisture in, gets thinner and leakier. That's not fear-mongering, that's biology. And the premium beauty industry knows every word of it, which is exactly why the marketing gets louder and the prices climb higher the moment your birthday cake needs a fire permit. I spent days on this, going through what board-certified dermatologists actually recommend, digging into who really owns these brands now, and reading what longtime users say after years on the stuff, not just the week they got a free sample. And what I found is that expensive and trustworthy almost never live in the same bottle. Some of the most trusted names on this entire list cost less than your morning coffee. So today, I'm counting down the only 8 skincare brands I'd still tell a woman over 50 to trust, the buy it for life kind. And I'm saving the one I trust most for number 1, because honestly, it's the least glamorous tub in your whole bathroom and the first thing I'd grab in a fire. If this is already changing how you look at your shelf, go ahead and subscribe. We go through this industry every single week, and we don't sugarcoat it. And before we start, do me one favor. Go look at your bathroom counter right now and comment which of these 8 is already sitting there. I want to see how many of you got it right without even knowing it. Number 8. CeraVe. You've seen it. The plain bottle, the blue lid, the one that costs about as much as a sandwich, and somehow ends up in half the dermatologists' offices in the country. Here's why it earns the spot. It was built around ceramides, the fatty molecules your skin uses to hold its barrier together. And after 50, that barrier is exactly what's breaking down. So it isn't fancy. It's the right ingredient at a price that almost feels like a mistake. Now, full honesty, because I promised you that. CeraVe is owned by L'Oreal, one of the biggest beauty conglomerates on the planet. I'm not going to pretend it's some scrappy little family lab, but here's where I land. The formula does the job, the price stayed low, and they didn't gut what made it work. For families sharing one tub, for anyone who just wants a moisturizer that won't sting or surprise them, it's a quiet, boring, reliable yes. Cheap, effective, unbothered. And that clears a higher bar than most of the expensive stuff. But if cheap and reliable is the floor, the next one is the brand that goes toe-to-toe with jars 3 times its price. And almost nobody gives it the credit. Number 7. Olay. And I already know some of you just rolled your eyes, because Olay is the bottom shelf brand, the one your mother had, the drugstore name nobody brags about at brunch. That's exactly the trap. Their retinol moisturizer, the one in the little tub, goes head-to-head with department store creams that cost 5 and 6 times as much. And on retinol specifically, the ingredient dermatologists actually point to for fine lines and texture, it holds its own. Retinol after 50 is one of the few things with real evidence behind it. So the question was never whether retinol works. It's whether you want to pay $30 for it or $200. Olay's whole bet is that you'd rather keep the difference, and I think they're right. Yes, it's owned by Procter & Gamble, another giant. I'm not hiding that either. But a giant that kept the price honest is treating you better than a boutique that marked the same molecule up 600% for the packaging. For the woman who's exhausted by being told the expensive one is the only one that works, this is your proof that it isn't. Speaking of the one ingredient that matters most of all after 50, the next brand built its entire reputation on it, and it might be the single most important name on this list. Number 6. La Roche-Posay, the little French pharmacy brand with the name nobody nails on the first try. And it's here for one reason above all the others. Sunscreen. If you take one thing away from this whole video, take this, the single most powerful anti-aging step you have, the one every dermatologist agrees on, is not a serum, not a cream, not a $60 firming anything. It's sun protection. Full stop. And La Roche-Posay sunscreens are the ones derms hand to patients with sensitive, reactive, easily irritated skin, which, after 50, is a lot of us. It's gentle. It goes on light. It doesn't sit on your face like a chalk mask. Same honesty rule applies. Yes, L'Oreal owns this one too. But the dermatology world's trust in it is older than that deal, and it held. For anyone whose skin has only gotten more sensitive with the years, for anyone who's been burned, literally, by harsh sunscreens, this is the bottle that finally behaves. Protect first. Everything else is decoration. Now here's where I'm going to make some of you genuinely angry, because the next brand on my trust list is one a very loud crowd online insists you can't trust anymore. Number 5. The Ordinary. And I can already feel half of you reaching for the keyboard, because The Ordinary built its whole name on radical transparency. It tells you exactly what's in the bottle and exactly how much, in plain language, for prices that usually land somewhere between $6 and $12. No magic, no elixir. Just the ingredient, the percentage, the price. That's the brand I fell for. So here's the fight. The Ordinary is owned by Deciem, and Deciem is now owned by Estée Lauder. And ever since that deal closed, a very vocal group of longtime fans swears the brand lost its soul, that it's drifting, that it's just not what it used to be. I've read those complaints. All of them. And I'm still putting it on the trust list because the formulas and the prices I can actually verify today are still doing exactly what they always did. So tell me I'm wrong. If you think The Ordinary went downhill after the buyout, I genuinely want to hear it. Come fight me in the comments, because I know you're down there. For the woman who's done being lied to by labels, this is still the most honest bottle in the aisle. For now. And if you think one acquisition quietly changing a brand you love is some rare thing, wait until you hear what happened to the next one. Because this is a brand I genuinely love, and I have to be honest with you about it anyway. Number 4. Paula's Choice. Founded by a woman, Paula Begoun, who built an entire company on one radical idea. Tell people the truth about ingredients, even when the truth was bad for business. Their leave-on exfoliant is a real cult product, the kind people repurchase for a decade straight, and for good reason. It does what it says it does. So, why only number 4? And why am I about to complicate it? Because in 2021, Paula's Choice was bought by Unilever, another giant, and since then, prices have crept up, and a real chunk of the original die-hard fans say the brand has drifted from the mission that made them loyal in the first place. I'm telling you that because I'd want to know it if I were you. I still trust the formulas, but if you've ever felt like a favorite brand quietly changed on you, and you couldn't put your finger on exactly why, you are not imagining it, and you are not alone. And honestly, the thing that makes me angriest in this entire industry isn't even the bad products. It's watching a brand earn your trust, sell that trust to the highest bidder, and bet that you won't notice. Comment if you felt that. If you've watched a brand you loved slowly stop being the brand you loved, I want to hear it. Which is exactly why the next 3 matter so much, because they haven't done that to you. Starting with the one your own dermatologist probably keeps in their own bathroom. Number 3. Eucerin. The least exciting tube you will ever buy, and I mean that as the highest compliment I can give. This is a German brand that's been handling dry, mature, why does my skin suddenly feel like paper skin for generations? And it leans straight into what you actually need after 50. Deep, serious moisture. Formulas aimed at thinning. Crepey, genuinely dry skin. Not at a 25-year-old chasing a glow. It's owned by Beiersdorf, the same company behind Nivea, so I'll be straight with you, it's not independent. but it has spent decades being the unglamorous workhorse on the dermatologist's shelf, and it never once tried to be sexy. It just tried to work. For the woman whose skin got dry in a way she's never felt before, for the one who needs the heavy-duty stuff and is sick of pretty little jars that do nothing, this is the tube that actually shows up. No drama, just relief. But if Eucerin is the workhorse, the next one quietly became one of the most trusted barrier creams in the world. And it came out of almost nowhere. Number 2. COSRX. And if you haven't heard of it, that's because it didn't climb up through glossy magazine ads. It climbed up through people who actually read ingredient lists. This is a Korean brand whose ceramide barrier cream became a quiet favorite of dermatologists and the hardcore skincare crowd alike. And it did it on substance, not celebrity. Same logic that should run your whole shelf after 50. Rebuild the barrier, calm everything down, don't irritate. It's gentle, it's effective, and it's affordable, which is a rare 3 at once. And it proves something I really want you to carry out of here. The brand with the biggest ad budget is almost never the brand with the best bottle. For anyone willing to tune out the hype and follow the people who actually know skin, COSRX is a name worth trusting. Quiet, smart, earned. And that brings us to number 1, the least flashy bottle on this entire list, the one I genuinely call Buy It for Life. And once you hear the story behind it, you'll understand why I saved it for last. Number 1, Vanicream. And if you've never heard of it, lean in, because this is the one. Back in the 1970s, 2 pharmacists in Rochester, Minnesota, kept getting the same desperate question from the dermatologists down the hall. My patients react to everything: fragrance, dyes, preservatives. What can they actually use? So those 2 did something almost no beauty company ever does. They started taking ingredients out, stripping the formula down until there was nothing left in it to irritate you. What they landed on was a cream with around 11 ingredients, no fragrance, no dyes. And here's the part that gives me chills. That formula has barely changed in over 40 years. Sit with that for a second. In an industry that reformulates and upgrades and quietly cheapens things every other year, Vanicream looked at something that worked and simply left it alone. It's still made by the same independent company that started it. It's certified by the National Eczema Association. It's sold in the Mayo Clinic's own store. It's manufactured to drug quality standards, not just cosmetic ones, and it costs about the same as a fast food meal. This is what Buy It for Life actually looks like. Not a luxury heirloom, but a plain white tub that earned 45 years of trust by refusing to betray it. For the woman with sensitive, reactive, had-enough skin, for anyone who just wants one thing in their life that does exactly what it promises and never changes the deal on them, this is it. Vanicream isn't trying to impress you. It's just telling you the truth. And after everything else on this list, that turns out to be the rarest ingredient there is. So look at what these 8 have in common, because that's the whole lesson. CeraVe and Olay, real ingredients, honest prices. La Roche-Posay, protection before anything else. The Ordinary and Paula's Choice, transparency, even when transparency makes things complicated. Eucerin and COSRX, workhorses that never needed the hype. And Vanicream, a promise kept for 45 years straight. Not one of them made this list because of a pretty jar or a famous face. They're here because they told you the truth and gave you your money's worth. And in this industry, that is practically a rebellion. So here's my real question for you. Now that you've seen the whole list, are you going to swap one of the expensive things on your shelf for one of these? Or are you going to stick with exactly what you've got and tell me I'm wrong? Comment your verdict. I read them. And before you go, 2 last things. First, tell me which brand I left off. There's one you defend to your last breath, and I want to know what it is, because this comment section is smarter than any magazine on the rack. Second, tell me what I should put under the microscope next. And be specific. Name the brand you suspect is coasting on a reputation it stopped earning years ago. That's the next video, and you're the one who's going to pick it. If this saved you from even one overpriced jar, hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Because every week we go right back into this industry and separate what's real from what's just expensive. Check your shelf tonight. Keep the ones that earned it. Let go of the ones that didn't. And remember, they spent millions making you doubt yourself. You don't owe a single one of them your trust until they've earned it. This is Beauty After 50, where we read the label so they can't fool you. I'll see you in the next one.